The huge metal belly of the Mars Viking spacecraft looms over the slouching figure of scientist Emmet Chappelle. Chappelle doesn't seem to see the large rocket above him. Instead, he is fascinated by what is happening before him on his lab bench. Underneath a couple of clear jars are fireflies, bouncing angrily against the glass. These fireflies, however, aren't normal, as they currently do not have glowing tails. Instead, their tails lie innocently in a marble mortar next to the glass jars. Emmet Chappelle takes the marble pestle and begins grinding the tails up, breaking them into smaller and smaller pieces until a glowing liquid is formed at the bottom of the bowl. With a smile, Chappelle adds another chemical to the liquid and watches the mixture get brighter and brighter, lighting up his part of the laboratory. Dun, dun, dun.
Great intro music there.
Thank you.
You're listening to Human Angle, a podcast that focuses on the hidden lives of scientists and asking what makes them human. I'm your co-host, Matthew Dale, here with my other co-host, Hughes-Castleberry.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you to all of our listeners. We've had over 900 plays on this podcast, and we definitely know we can reach 1,000 with your help. Please share and subscribe to our show, and if you liked today's episode, like it and share it with your friends. Don't forget to rate us. It really does help.
So today we're going to be discussing Emmet Chappelle. Did I get that?
It's Emmet, not Emmet.
Emmet. Okay. Emmet. Okay. Okay, so today we're discussing Emmet Chappelle, one of the most distinguished African-American scientists in history. Chappelle made his advancement. Fucking hell. Chappelle made his advancements in the fields of medicine, food science, astrochemistry, and also managed to find some time for some philanthropy on the side. He worked with NASA for several years and was even inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame for his work on bioluminescence, very spooky, in 2007.
Most of our research for this episode came from several online articles written about Chappelle. His scientific work is really expansive, and we're going to try to cover everything we can. Chappelle unfortunately died just last year, 10 days before his 95th birthday, leaving quite a large legacy in history. And we're hoping with this episode to do his work justice.
Well, that sounds like a lot.
It is going to be a lot, but I mean, it's kind of cool to see a scientist who's so well-rounded, maybe?
Well, with Kenna ramping the pressure up there, we might as well get started. So Emmet Chappelle was born 24th of October 1925 in Phoenix, Arizona, to his parents Viola White Chappelle and fuck's sake.
You can do this.
And his mom?
Yeah, probably. That's my guess.
His mom Chappelle. My apologies to his parents if I butchered their name's pronunciation there. Who grew cotton and raised cattle on their farm. I should also point out, by the way, that some additional research I was doing, I actually found a couple of articles claiming that there wasn't actually any electricity on the farms that he grew up on, at least until he was 12 years old. So just to really put it into context.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like Great Depression era. Wow. Crazy. I love that.
Oh God, I forgot about the Depression as well.
There is the Great Depression.
Yeah, there was this economic thing going on there. I don't know if you heard about it.
Good times.
So, but despite this depression, as a child, he did manage to find some time exploring the desert environment of Arizona and learning about nature. Because Chappelle grew up during the time of segregation in America, he was unfortunately required to attend a segregated school called the Phoenix Union Colored High School, which was in Phoenix, where he graduated.
Wow, who was in Phoenix?
I mean, I'm just reading the script here.
Oh yeah, sorry, that would be me. Terrible script.
I didn't say that, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. You were thinking it.
Okay, so blah blah blah. Oh, yes. So he did manage to graduate top of his senior class out of 25 students, though. So credit where it's due.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Chappelle, straight after this, Chappelle was drafted into the US
Army.
in 1942
Yeah.
because there was a war going on.
Mm-hmm.
I was assigned in the Army Specialized Training Program, where he was able to take some engineering courses. And this was really where Chappelle was exposed to engineering for the first time. Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff.
No, I'm just like, oh.
You can do this. You're almost done. Actually, I think I gave you a longer part of the script this time. Oh well.
I mean, I'm not nearly done, but
You can do it.
yeah, but I appreciate the pep talk nonetheless. So Chappelle was later reassigned to the all-black 92nd Infantry Division and served in Italy. During his time in the service, he did suffer 2 non-fatal wounds in action, but fortunately, as we'll find out later, that didn't stop him from making the discoveries he did. Bam.
Oh yeah. Ultimate badass. Sorry, I couldn't help
So
it.
after he returned from Italy in 1946, he attended Phoenix College, where he studied electrical engineering and received an AA degree. I'm not actually sure what that is. I
It's
don't know.
just an associate's degree. So like for the US education system for college, it goes associates, which is 2 years, and then bachelor's, which is 4.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. The more you know.
Okay, so after receiving his AA degree, he redirected his focus, realizing that he wanted a career towards the sciences. So he managed to earn a BS. Wait, okay. So he earned a BS degree in biology from UC Berkeley, uh, and he then served as an instructor of biochemistry at uh, Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee, between 1950 and 1953. And this was without graduate training, which is quite impressive, I have to say.
Yeah, I was very surprised when I read that. I was like, wow, he is an instructor, but he got no graduate training. Either he's really good and can like easily bullshit his way into a position, or like he actually is really good and people are like,
Yeah,
you don't need graduate training. You're
I don't think
fine.
he. I don't think he bullshitted his way, and that's a bit
No.
harsh.
Yeah, I
I
don't
would
think he
like to know how he
bullshitted
spun that, though. I've got to be like flexible with the kind of work I'm looking for after I've done this master's. So
Right.
I'll take
Okay,
all.
how
I'm
good
definitely
is
taking these
my
tips.
my bullshitting level, you know?
Yeah, I just also maybe I'll just have to
You
maybe I'll
have
just
to get
have to reconsider my field as well. Who knows?
I like it. I like it.
So clearly, with the fact that he was able to essentially talk his way into, uh, so clearly from the way he was essentially able to talk his way into an instructor job, he was clearly very talented, and his work was soon recognised by the scientific community, and he was accepted. He was accepted to go on a master's degree in biology at the University of Washington in 1954, and this allowed Chappelle to continue his graduate studies. Uh, I'll do that again. So
Yeah.
Chappelle continued his graduate studies at Stanford University, though he didn't complete his PhD. From 1955 to 1958, he worked as a research associate. And in 1958, Chappelle joined the Research Institute for Advanced Studies in Baltimore, Maryland. I've got to say, I'm impressed with the amount of like institutions he's just adding to his CV and ticking off.
He's just like
Yeah,
jumping places. He's like, okay, I'll go here.
yeah,
I'll go here. I'll go here. Like
yeah.
very
It's a very interesting flex there. I've got to say.
yeah, I was gonna say like I give him props for being so flexible and being willing to go where he wants to go. Props to him.
Yeah, and it was here where Chappelle made his major discovery. that has largely contributed to the knowledge of bacteria, cyanobacteria, and other single-celled organisms around the world. So he discovered that single-celled organisms, such as algae, are photosynthetic. So for those of you who don't know what that is, what it essentially means is they're able to convert carbon dioxide to sugar and water into oxygen. And the ability to photosynthesize and the ability to fuck's sake.
Photosynthesize?
Yeah, you shut up. God,
I'll
fucking
stop.
fucking botanist, honestly. So the ability to photosynthesize.
That made it even better.
Yeah, no, that's. Fucking hell.
You can do it. Just slow it down.
This is like the most basic bitch word to not pronounce as well.
It's the most
It's like the
basic
word you should know how to pronounce because you put all the effort into not pronouncing it when you're in high school. Fuck's sake.
You can do it. I promise.
So the ability to photosynthesize is a characteristic of all plants. That is the opposite process of cellular respiration, which all organisms use to create the energy needed for life. So interestingly enough, algal photosynthesis. Algal photosynthesis has been essential for allowing astronauts to allowing astronauts to have a constantly renewed source of oxygen.
Yeah, so they make oxygen for
sorry, it makes sense. I think my mind just crashed there.
Okay.
So algal photosynthesis has been essential for allowing astronauts to have a constant renewing source of oxygen. And so this knowledge was not only beneficial to astronauts because it allows scientists to develop a method for creating clean oxygen for astronauts in space, but it also provided them with a safe food source, that is the algae itself, that is capable of reproducing in space. And Ken has just put here plants rule, so read into that what you will, which is doubly confusing to me because I did think plants were algae was plants, but whatever.
Technically, yes and no. That's the best way I can answer that. Is that yes, they are because plants photosynthesize and algae photosynthesize, but no, and that they also are a different strain of organisms than plants.
So they're not.
No, I was gonna say like a safe food source is eating the algae, and I'm like, I don't know what algae tastes like. I'm not like.
Well, seaweed. Have you not had seaweed?
No, yeah, I have, but like, I don't know if they have a specialized type of algae for space other than seaweed that might just be more like compact or like more protein. I'm not sure, but it's
maybe they've genetically engineered like algae to like taste like McDonald's cheeseburgers or something. Who knows?
I love it. They're like, you're going up in space. We're already spending enough money anyway, so let's just make it, taste like McDonald's for you as opposed to just regular algae.
I mean, I feel like it's probably better. I mean, I feel like it's probably better than a lot of the stuff I associate with space food, like dried out, whatever that just dried out fish.
Anything dried.
Yeah, just dried out protein, sustenance. I don't know.
I like it.
As you can tell, I don't know a lot about astronauts.
Same here, but it does not sound like you go into it for the food. So yeah,
that's
good
flawed
on
me.
you.
That's flawed in me. That's flawed me. That I've got to say.
Oh yeah, sorry. It has other perks besides the food.
Flawed again.
Yep. Yeah. So good on you, Emmet Chappelle, for giving us food, I suppose.
Yeah.
As astronauts. And oxygen. Oxygen's way more important than food. Let me guess, your mind is blown by that, aren't you?
Yeah, no, my mind's always blown whenever I talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
All these insights you bring.
I do my best.
Shit. Okay, good. I thought sorry, it's just Carmen sent me this message saying meet me at co-op, but she's not there yet, so
oops.
Yeah. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
You in trouble.
Yeah. So, so after making the miraculous discovery that astronauts need plants and oxygen to survive, he went on to work for Hazelton Laboratories. No, laboratories. I said lavatories, I think there.
Like an American.
L-
No.
freeze frame on that particular face, please.
I'm secretly converting you to the ways. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So he went on to work for Hazelton Laboratories in 1963, now known as Covance Inc. Do we know what that's supposed to mean?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
Cool
I
place.
assumed it was some very niche Greek mythology there, but
Maybe. I don't know.
But anyway, so he went to work there now known as Covance Inc. As a biochemist, but he later joined.
He later joined what, Matthew?
The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which normal people know as NASA.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
right.
he joined. So he joined an exobiologist, he joined there. So he joined NASA as an exobiologist, which is now known as an astrobiologist, just so that's clear, and an astrochemist in 1966. As an astrobiologist and astrochemist of NASA, that is someone who focuses on the search for extraterrestrial life and studies the chemistry of astronomical objects. He works on the Viking spacecraft and helped develop instruments to collect and scrape soil from the surface of Mars. And for those of you wondering, well, why would anyone want that? Should point out that the Viking programs were essentially the first space programs to land on the surface of Mars and send photos and soil samples
Right.
from the planet's surface.
I'm also like just shocked that they already had that going when it's 66. Like they haven't even landed on the moon yet.
Was it? Well, it didn't get sent. It didn't get sent in the 66, did it?
No, but like they're already planning for it to get sent, even though like the Apollo missions are the ones that are like the big ones during the 60s.
Well, it makes sense to me, I guess. It's the height of space race
Yeah.
fanaticism, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. It's just really
And
interesting. That's what I thought about. So I was like, oh, they haven't even landed men on the moon
this was
yet, and
back
yet
when,
they're
yeah,
working on this. So that's kind of cool.
this was back when everyone thought we were about to meet people on Mars. I guess.
Martians.
God.
Fun.
The optimism of like this era just continues to floor me and astound me. It really does sometimes.
Or just the amount of like nerds, technology, and science development.
Yeah, of just the space stuff. It's completely. It's amazing how much.
Yeah.
Our research and development to space has changed in the last 50 years.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
NASA doesn't have any money to keep the lights on anymore, but
now it's all going to Elon.
oh God.
That'll be a different subject
Elon,
for another time.
Oh God,
Another time.
SpaceX Inc. on Mars. Fuck me.
That's for another time.
Dear. So Chappelle pioneered a new way to develop the ingredients ubiquitous in all cellular material. And later on, he developed the techniques that are still widely used in the detection of bacteria in blah, blah. So later, he developed techniques that are still widely used for the detection of bacteria in urine, blood, spinal fluids, drinking water, foods, and also semen. A fact which Kenner neglected to put in the script for some reason.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Cool.
No,
so
I just
bodily fluids, pretty much.
Yes, all the bodily fluids, basically.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry, it's just because I found in my extra research and it was actually mentioned in the patent specifically. So,
I see. You just couldn't.
Which I found for some reason.
You couldn't even leave that one out. All right, cool. So all bodily.
My dissertation.
Fluids.
I just need to justify my dissertation procrastination.
I see. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I get it. Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on to non-bodily fluids. So while designing instruments for the Mars Viking spacecraft, Chappelle became interested in bioluminescence, which is warm light produced by living organisms. Chappelle developed a method using two chemicals, luciferase and luciferin, from fireflies, which give off light when mixed with ATP, which, for people who don't know what ATP is, it's adenosine triphosphate, or sugar, an energy storage compound found in all living cells to detect the presence of ATP. So you mix the two chemicals with ATP to detect ATP. Cool.
Yep.
This method for ATP detection can be used to detect life on other planets as well as microbiological, I'm going to start that word over.
It begins.
As well as microbiological organisms. So since everything has ATP, you just look for where ATP is and you're like, cool, that's living.
The currency for life, as it's known.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. So Chappelle explained this process by saying, quote, you start out with the firefly, which you have to obtain, by the way. That kind of makes sense. Either you catch it yourself or you pay the little kids to run around catching them for you. Then you bring them into the lab. You chop off their tails, grind them up, and get a solution out of these ground up tails. You add adenosine triphosphate to that mixture and you get light. End quote.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
The whole quote is fascinating to me.
Well, at least he did his research.
I think methodology sections in papers would be much more interesting if they described stuff.
I paid a bunch of kids to get fireflies for me so I could do this experiment. What I find interesting about like Chappelle's work is like, since marine organisms are so bioluminescent in the ocean, like nobody had found that out already, even though there was already a lot of marine research. I'm fascinated that Chappelle was the one to find those chemicals, and like as opposed to anybody else. You know what I mean?
I mean, my understanding is that they hadn't done much deep sea research back then.
I guess that makes sense. Like subs are a lot harder to do than like spacecraft.
Which is where the bioluminescence is going to be.
Right. Yeah.
And also my understanding was that this era of research, they didn't actually know that much about microbiology of the ocean, just because the plating techniques they were using just discriminated against most of the bacteria. So basically, when you'd put a sample of ocean onto a plate, 99% of the actual bacteria wouldn't grow because they have different biochemistries and they can't grow on the plate.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Plus, like, I think, again, this era is so focused on the space race and, like, the Cold War, they're not thinking about subs or, like, deep sea diving. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, just the gruesome description there.
What, you don't like chopping off firefly tails?
Well, I don't make a habit out of it, I've got to say.
Fair. Wait, does London have fireflies? Because I don't remember them being out when I was there.
I mean, London's a city, so...
Okay, fine. The United Kingdom.
I don't know, actually. I can't remember seeing them, to be honest. Actually, I think it does. They're just not that common.
That's
I don't
fair.
think. I'd have to look it up, to be honest. If they do, it's definitely not that common.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Like it's only in specific parts. I know here in the States, we only have them on the East Coast, usually.
Oh, why is that?
I think it's just environment, ecosystem, and humidity and temperature.
Yeah, maybe the south of England has it.
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. So.
But also it reminds me of an experiment I did second year, actually.
Oh no! All right, now you have to tell the story. You can't not tell the story.
I mean, it wasn't. I didn't chop off any tails, but we did. It was for neuroscience. We just injected needles into the eyes of flies, basically.
Oh wait, to like turn them different colors?
No. So we put an anode and a cathode and an anode in them, and then we were measuring the. Yeah.
Gotcha. How difficult was it to inject something into a fly's
incredibly
eye?
difficult.
Okay.
I mean, you could eventually inject in the eye, but the trick was make sure it's still alive to get a reading.
Ooh, fair enough. Like if you push
because we
the
got it
needle
in,
too
but
far.
then they were just dead. Also, one wrong turn, you get it in this, and you just
That
kill it as well.
I feel like you should add that to your resume of skills.
I mean,
Fly
I
eye
didn't really
injector.
succeed in it, so I don't think I can. But
Aw, shame.
did
Okay.
you not do experiments like this?
I did anesthetizing flies in college, but like we also were just anesthetizing them and then separating them into different colonies to like grow different like white-eyed flies or red-eyed flies and then like practice mating. So like yeah, it wasn't anything super fancy like that. But that sounds really fun and very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I think by far you probably actually worked harder on that than Chappelle did with his fireflies.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, speaking of Chappelle, Chappelle's method for identifying ATP is unique in that it works outside of Earth's atmosphere. So, meaning that it could, in theory, be used to identify extraterrestrial life, which is kind of cool. So, life on Mars or the moon, although I think they've already determined moon. Um, the field of exobiology, which we talked about earlier, is also called astrobiology, owes much to Chappelle's work. When asked about if life on other planets exists, he responded with, quote, I think it's likely. It's not life as we know it here on Earth, but I think it's likely that there are organisms up there that reproduce, end quote. And Chappelle actually was proven right because we still have, we found today like fossilized bacterial remains on Mars. And scientists are still trying to figure out like which bacteria was there, what it was doing, and if it's possible that we could find a type of bacteria that is still alive on Mars or if we could sustain bacteria on Mars. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. So I don't know. That is really interesting.
Yeah, it's almost as if he's smart and knows what he's doing.
Who knew, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, honestly, just researching him just, I don't know, gave me so much more respect for him as a person to be like, oh my gosh, you're doing this, but also this, but also this, but also this. Like, just crazy. So, yeah, Chappelle also proved that the number of bacteria in water can be measured by the amount of light given off by that bacteria. So that makes sense. Like, how much light versus like colony size, I suppose.
Yeah.
This discovery allowed scientists and doctors to detect small amounts of bacteria in places such as urine or other bodily fluids in order to detect an onset of a bacterial infection, which is really cool.
Yeah, nice.
I had to throw the bodily fluids in there,
Yeah.
or else I knew you would get upset with
Yeah.
me.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, right, right. I'm sorry. Yes. Additionally, Chappelle developed a method for determining vegetation health by using laser-induced fluorescence to measure the amount of photosynthesis occurring in crops, which allows scientists to detect plant stress, determining growth rates, water conditions, and harvest timing. And I actually used this in one of my undergraduate labs when I was doing plant research, and it's really cool. Some of the lighting and images are just fantastic.
Tell us more.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
Well, you take a leaf from the plant and you put it in this special machine, and like it again just uses lasers and like other sorts of things like that to cause the plant leaf to fluoresce. And then based off like the amount of fluorescence and like where it is in the plant and whatnot, you can kind of detect like where the plant is being stressed or like that sort of thing. It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure those machines are very expensive as well. But yeah, very interesting.
So, like any other piece of scientific equipment.
Any other piece of scientific equipment, they are expensive, unfortunately.
I remember we had to order some primers because we ran out, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of pounds just for like millimeters
Oh,
worth of
yeah. No, that's
primers.
fair. Like
And
every time they tell you in your lab, like, don't, use this wisely or like don't break this or whatever because it costs a lot of money. Yeah, it makes
yeah,
sense.
they mean it.
Yeah, they do. So Chappelle earned an Exceptional Scientific Achievement Medal from NASA for his work, which is cool. He is a member of the American Chemical Society, the American Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, the American Society of Photobiology, the American Society of Microbiology, and the American Society of Black Chemists. So
That's a busy social life there.
I was just gonna say he's very well networked and like very well involved, which is really cool actually. Chappelle retired from NASA in 2001 to live with his daughter and son-in-law in Baltimore, Maryland. Along with his 14 US patents, he has produced more than 35 peer-reviewed scientific or technical publications and nearly 50 conference papers. He's also co-authored and edited numerous other publications on a variety of subjects. So clearly really well-rounded and like very knowledgeable on stuff. So
Very eclectic by the
yeah, and
sounds of
like
it.
clearly willing to help people on like
Mhm.
just their research no matter what, even if he's retired, which is cool. So as
It
we
sounds like
mentioned,
I was
no,
just going
go
to
for it.
say it sounds very broad ranging as well.
Yeah, that was like the other thing that I was really shocked by is that he's not just limited to like physics or chemistry or biology. Is like he kind of goes all over the place, which is really cool. So, as we mentioned before, in 2007, Chappelle was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame for his work on bioluminescence. He is often included on lists of the most important scientists of the 20th century. And Emmet Chappelle died in Baltimore, Maryland on October 14th, 2019, at the age of 93. Throughout his career, Chappelle continued to foster the growth of technology and also mentored minority high school and college students. So clearly made a really good impact in multiple ways, not just
That,
science.
that's really cool, actually. That
Yeah,
this eminent professor, or this eminent scientist, sorry, just went down and decided to teach kids. I really respect that.
I do too. And just like making, like, not just being the egotistical scientist for being famous. He's actually like a really
Yeah,
nice guy and just down to earth and like, I'm willing to help you.
I wonder if his own childhood played into that desire, willingness to do that.
I could see that actually, like just having, like, seeing the other passion in kids um, that you had when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Totally. I could see that for sure. Well, that is it for this episode. Please let us know what you think. And next week, or in the next couple weeks, stay tuned for our next episode on Gladys West. Woohoo! Yay!
Do do do.
Done.
That's the
All right.
outro music.
I'm going to stop the recording.